Hey everybody, this is the first ever The Sports Cycle Radio podcast, bringing you the preview of the Fordham Basketball season. I'm Donnie Dwyer. First, let me bring up the new coach, Tom Pecora. He takes over a 2-26 team, and a team that has only won 5 games in the past 2 years after such drama. Derek Wittenberg was fired as coach last year, and Gio Fontaine transferred to USC. Then, the interim head coach, Jared Grazzo, left to take the head assistant job at Iona in the MAC after announcing that head coach Tom Pecora from Hofstra was going to go take over the job. It was an intense offseason for the Rams. But Pecora comes from a Hofstra system, a New York guy, with 4 20-win seasons and 3 NIT berths at his time at Hofstra. He brought in as many recruits as he could fill out the roster as Danny Thompson, Lance Brown, and Brendan Melvin left from last year's team. So this year, he brings in Curvin Bristol center, point guard Brendan Frazier, then a power forward Marvin Dominique, and Lamont Samuel Jr., who will be coming in hopefully December via transfer, recruiting, and academic reasons. But the key, though, for Fordham is that Tom Pecora has realized what it means to be a Fordham man. At the opening dinner on Monday, he states Fordham is a sleeping giant and knows how special this school really is.
But it's so important, and that's what happens at big-time places. And Fordham is a big-time university, starting. And once again, a quick story. I was in a young recruit's home, and we live in this Google world. Thank you, Bart, by the way, for the Google world we live in. But the young guy's father, I got on a roll. It was 7:30 in the morning. He's actually, I can't tell you his name because of NCAA rules, but he's also a high school quarterback. So I went to a football game on Friday night, and I was in his home 7:30 Saturday morning, and I spent 2 hours in there. And after talking without taking a sip of water for about 90 minutes, his father said, Coach, we live in a Google world. We know all about Fordham. It's a wonderful school. We know all about you. I need to know one thing. Why did you leave the school you were at before to go to Fordham? And the young man is in the top 1% in the country academically. He's obviously a big-time athlete. And I hadn't rehearsed this, but I don't know. It just hit me. And I said, because I couldn't be here recruiting your son if I wasn't at Fordham. And that's the God's honest truth. So maybe that'll get us over the top, Father. Father McShane met with him. He's sending him emails. He's talking to the Jesuits at his high school. And I think we have this whole thing wired. I hope. There's another expression I learned from Rolly Massimino, who I worked with, and I was blessed to work with him for 12 years. He had taught in high school for 12 years, and like myself, still considered himself an educator and taught me a lot of things. And he gave me an expression that I believe is so true, and I've used it a couple times with my guys in practice. And the expression is that we look around Rose Hill Gym, and that's hallowed ground because of what took place with the 71 team and the other athletes and fans and Fordham students who have passed through there. And we look around that beautiful gym, and I say to the guys, this is our classroom. There's no desks. But every time we take an exam, thousands of people are watching. And I hope this year you're all there to watch us. Thank you all very much. I love you.
He brings up the 1971 team, a team that went from bums and slums to leaders and giants. They were at the dinner Monday night, and Coach Digger Phelps made a speech. He's now an ESPN analyst for college basketball, but still remembers the time winning and how much Fordham took over the city. But if this team this year wants to take over the city, they have to believe in themselves.
What was amazing about these guys, they believed in each other. They were unselfish. They were focused. They believed in the press. We had Villanova in the Eastern Regionals. They got Howard Porter, Jones, Simonkowski, Inglesby, and some guy named Chris Ford. I played Charlie in the first half. He's got 2 fouls. I didn't care about. He gets his third. We didn't care. We had to go after him. They go on to lose to UCLA in a national championship game. We're that close to getting to that position. But what was amazing about these guys, they own New York City, but the Fordham students own New York City. The Fordham cheerleaders own New York City. The pep band, the bugle, and the bass drum own New York City. The dance team owned New York City. It was amazing how everybody came together and believed in that one moment. And that's life's journey. It was a year that fell in place for a lot of different reasons. And it was a year that, when somebody said it's the 40th year reunion, I said, whoa. I'm going back to Lombardi and Drew's in 37. But know this and understand this. And Tommy, I say this to you and I say this to your team. Understand something about the 8-10. The 8-10's a powerhouse this year. Preseason, Dayton, Richmond, Xavier, and Temple are all NCAA bound. You want a challenge? Just knock them off when you play them. You want a challenge? Believe in what Tom wants to do and make it work. There's no such thing as, well, they got better talent and they got better talent, or this isn't. No. The A-10 is better than the Pac-10 this year. Yeah, I'm talking about UCLA, Washington, Arizona, Southern Cal, all those schools. That's how strong the A-10 is. You live for college basketball. And what you saw happen last year in college basketball, St. Mary's knocks off Villanova. Northern Iowa knocks off Kansas. Cornell beats Temple in the first round, goes on to the Sweet 16 by beating Wisconsin. Xavier beats Pittsburgh. Butler. You know, Hayward missed that shot with all our experts at ESPN with the computers, where he took it, the arch, and where it hit. He missed that shot to beat Duke by 1/8 of an inch. So don't tell me you can't make it happen. And don't tell me what Billy said. The torch has been passed to your generation. It's been a long time waiting. The time is now. You believe, you make it happen, and the Rams show up, and guess what? Come March Madness, you're there, you get an NCAA bid. Thank you. God bless you.
Wow. That speech just gives me goosebumps. To hear about Fordham taking on the big boys back in the day in 71, like Marquette, school I go to, Syracuse, Dr. J, and UMass, and have those were in the Garden and on the road, for a team like Fordham to do that, it makes me think, hey, Fordham can do this. Fordham can really be that team. But first they have to believe in themselves. And who does this Rams team have to believe in? None other than sophomore Chris Gaston and senior Brenton Butler. If the Rams want to win games, they have to rely on the two players to step up big time this year. Chris was ranked number 23 overall power forwards in the nation, according to Rivals.com. Second All-Atlantic 10 in the preseason, and Rookie of the Year in the Atlantic 10 last year. He averaged 18 points and 11 rebounds a game, scoring more than 500 points in a season. If he does that again, he's a 1,000-point scorer. He's going to be a leader on both ends of the floor, and he's going to lead the Rams to big things. On the other side, Brenton Butler is in his 5th year. Watching him play at Fordham in his freshman and sophomore year just put a smile on my face. He's a scorer, a leader, and a team player. He currently sits 21st place on the all-time scoring list with 1,130 points. He averaged 80 points from the line last year, 16 points a game, and had to make big shots when he needed to. The key thing to know about this kid, though, is he is tough. This kid shows toughness. He's the type of kid who fights to the end and never gives up. He played with mono his sophomore year and got hurt his junior year. Came back to become a dynamic scorer, and he will be that player for the Rams, who are very young this year. Now, with everything aside, the key is what will be the results of this season for the Fordham Rams. Well, I have to say it starts with the guard play, and they're going to be relying on health. If they can find the key point guard to give them a lot of minutes, handle the ball, and don't turn the ball over, they should be fine. If Curvin Bristol, the key center, can stay healthy and be sufficient big in the post, they will win a lot of games. Now, how many games, you ask? Well, I have to say they win 14 this year and make some noise in the Atlantic 10. with what Pecora teaches and the athletic players on this roster, when you have the Kiri Gordons, the Freemans, the Ali Hozic, the Dominiques, the Greens, I don't see why not. They should start out this season 5-0 in their first 5 games and try to beat the bigger and better teams like Georgia Tech, Xavier, Richmond, and Dayton. I can see them doing this. I don't see a way that they cannot. But it'll be a long season for the Rams, but I am excited. It all starts with looking at yourself, and if the Rams can find an identity, they can win. But for more information on the season opener and all of the Rams basketball coverage, go to www.thesportscycle.com. I'm your host, Donnie Dwyer. Have a great night, and remember to bleed maroon and white.